Hello everyone, welcome back to channel Musa Gaming here, and today I want to talk about everything that there is to know in order for you to win a Zenith of Power Skin. Now, as you can see on the screen, I currently have 15% Cavalry Zenith of Power Skin available for me, myself, permanently. As you can see that all items, this Zenith of Power is permanent. And I was lucky enough to win this particular Zenith of Power Skin as I think I've been placed on the 10th place when I actually ran for this Zenith of Power Skin. So I was very, very lucky to be able to get this. And I think this is probably the best Cavalry City skin that there is in the game at this very moment. And I'll go over a little bit of how you can win a Zenith of Power, talk a little bit more about what Zenith of Power is, and how I won this particular skin without spending too much or not as much of speed ups as other people may have at the end of the day. Now, Zenith of Power. Let's just first talk about Zenith of Power. Zenith of Power is an event in Rise of Kingdoms that would actually allow you to unlock a legendary city skin for either permanently or a specific duration of time. Now, if you're actually ranked number 1 to number 10th in that in your Zenith of Power event, you'll be able to unlock the skin permanently. If you are a little bit below that, you will either earn yourself 15-day or 30-day of Zenith of Power, or you'll probably just gain some gold tests and rewards for that period of time. Now, how the event will run is that event will actually give you a couple of days for you to, I think it was about 3 to 4 days window for you to power up during this time. And as you push through your power up will actually get recorded into the Zenith of Power ranking. And as you can see, this was my personal Zenith of Power winning board. And with 23 minutes left over, I powered up about 31 million powers during that time. And luckily, I had pretty big difference between the 11th and 10th. But then again, I did spend basically every single hour of speed ups that I actually had available at that time. So that's how you win it. As long as you're in the first place to 10th place, you'll be able to get Zenith of Power Skin. And typically you'll need to push up about 30 million power minimum. Again, this could vary depending on how what kind of kingdom cluster that you're in. If you're in a kingdom where you have many different whales, for example, if you're in a kingdom like 1960, 1093, I don't know, any of those kingdoms that are actually in the A seed or above, like your chance of winning with 30 million power will be very low. But 2811 at that time was very young kingdom. I think we just got out of like KVK 3 or 4 at that time I was winning this Zenith of Power. So I was able to get by with 30 million power. So just understand that this is just a very vague generalization, but usually you will need at least 30 million 30 million power-ups for you to win a Zenith of Power minimum. With that said, it will always vary by how popular the city skin is. For example, if you have 15% Archer city skin, most likely you're not going to have as much competition as a health skin. If you have 15% cavalry skin, cavalry attack skin, it's not going to be as competitive as 15% health skin. So it will really depend on the city skin itself. But then again, I'm just talking about generalization, general rule of thumb. You'll need about 30 million power up. And typically speaking, somewhere between 5 years to 10 years of speed ups for you to actually guarantee yourself a place for this Zenith of Power. So with that said, this is not an event that is actually meant for everyone. Everyone, if you don't have 5 to 10 years of speed up saved up for this event, I would just recommend that you go ahead and complete the quest that is actually only for people who are powering up to 1 million. Then you can get like 5 gold heads. But if you're actually thinking about winning the city skin for a specific reason, whether you're a rally lead, whether you're a garrison lead, for the specific troop type of your choice, then this is an event and this is a guide that is designed and made for you. Now, Whew, that was a lot of words that I just spit out of my mouth. And let's see. Okay, so the reason why I'm covering this at this very moment is simple because we have this new city skin that is just right around the corner that's gonna release in the game within the next couple weeks. And this is going to be Fearlessly Forth. This is the next Zenith of Power city skin that's coming to the game. It's going to give you 20% infantry attack. Now, the significance of this skin is actually where I want to start this video with, is because, for one, this is the very first Zenith of Power skin that will give you 20% of specific stats. Now, before this city skin came up, I think we were actually stuck at about 15% of anything. So it could be 15% of attack, 15% of defense, 15% of health for any city skin. And then for troop type, for non-troop type, so for leadership city skin, for example, it's like all troops attack of 12% skin, it was stuck at 12%. So this skin in particular basically opened up Rise of Kingdoms to a new era of 20% stats city skins. So this city skin in particular has that kind of significance. But on the other hand, though, this is an infantry attack city skin. What does that mean? That means that infantry attack city skin is not going to be as popular as some city skins like 15% defense, 15% health skins. So your competition probably is not going to be as fierce as let's say for the last Zenith of Power city skin for infantry, which was actually 15% health skin. So your competition, if you're actually looking for something that actually is a Zenith of Power skin, but then again you're like, okay, well, I don't want too much competition, then this might be the right Zenith of Power skin for you. Now, right here on the spreadsheet, you might be probably wondering why I have this spreadsheet on the whole time. Is because I actually wanted to calculate how much this benefits everyone. Now, and I want to actually, how I want to do that is actually convert the stats amount that this city skin gives in terms of all damage. And how I did that was actually using the spreadsheet given by stat weighing by Daver. Yeah, this guy, I use this guy's spreadsheet a lot because his stuff is just really useful. And then what I actually did was I went to the best potential equipments that you can possibly get in Rise of Kingdoms, and then I average those out. So for each percent of all damage, in average, you are going to get about, let's see, about, so each 1.7% of health for infantry, you could get about 1% of all damage. And then for 2.43% of defense in infantry, you can get 1% of all damage. 2.79% of attack, you can get 1% of all damage. Now, you can basically see why I'm saying that this city skin might not be as popular as something that's perhaps 15% city skin, because health will give you most amount of all damage conversion when compared to attack. Let's just do a quick math right here. Let's say you got something that gives you 10% health and then 10% attack. Right off the bat, if you were given 10% health, you're going to get 5.7% of all damage when, let's say, if you got 10% attack, you're going to get only about 3.5% of all damage. All right, my apologies. My wife just came home and I had to pause the video a little bit, but I'm back. So anyway, so you can see that there is a huge difference between 10% health skin as well versus the 10% attack. Now, that's not like to a degree where it's like twice as good, but then again, it's about 1.5 times better. So yeah, attack is less preferred stat when compared to something like health. And then defense is second best stat for infantry. So just for you to basically keep in mind. So here, let me just go ahead and delete all that. So with that said, what I have here is actually a little bit of comparison between the 20% attack city skin versus 5% health, which is actually basically any epic skin. So if you're actually using an infantry epic city skin with 5% health, that's going to be comparable to this one right here. And then I had 10% defense because I think a lot of people actually have that 10% infantry defense from the KVK shop. So that's something that you can actually compare. And if you have 12% defense skin from long time ago, Zenith of Power Skin, I don't even know when that came out. But if you have that, that's actually something that you can compare it to the 15% attack and 10% health for if you had 10% health Zenith of Power City Skin from like years before I even started playing the game. And that's basically what this would have. And now, if you had the latest 15% infantry health, then that's something that you can compare it to. And then if you want to go ahead and compare it to the 12% defense city skin, I think this is for all troop types. So the most recent, the boat city skin that actually was released not too long ago, that's basically what this is. And then these are for future city skins. So if you have 20%, let's say you have acquired this infantry 20% skin, but then again, let's say in a year or two, you're gonna see the 20% defense and 20% health for infantry in the future, and like it's gonna happen sometime or the other. So when that happens, how is that when compared to this 20% skin right here? And let's just go ahead and copy and paste. I already did the formatting for this, so let's see how that goes. So what is very interesting is that actually this 20% attack skin is actually much better than even the 12% defense skin and 15% defense skin, which is actually very interesting because I thought originally the 20% attack skin is going to be not as good as the 15% defense infantry skin, but it is much better. It is slightly worse than 15% health skin, which is actually pretty good. So yeah, it's slightly worse than the most recent, the best infantry city skin that you have. But if you have like 15% city skin for infantry or 10% health skin for infantry, this is actually a pretty good city skin because it gives you 20% attack. Now, if you're holding on to 12% all troop type health defense city skin, it is also better for infantry in specific if you actually get the 20% city skin. So it's actually not that bad. Now, with that said, if the 11% and 20% health infantry Zenith of Power Skin does come around, you are losing a lot of value. But then again, it's actually not that bad even when compared to 20% defense skin, which is actually something that's going to come out in like, I don't know, somewhere between next year or so, because it has to go around the cycle of infantry, cavalry, and archer, and then all troop types. So very interesting calculation that we got here. Again, shout out to Daver who actually put this together. Again, this is just by averaging out whatever I actually saw from his best equipment set for all troop pairing. So something that I think you can just take a look at for reference on where this city skin stands. But right now, it's looking pretty good. It's actually the second best infantry Zenith of Power city skin that you can possibly get your hands on. Only second to the 15% city skin, but there might not be as much competition as there was for 15% health skin. So just for you to actually have it for reference for the future. Now, let's just go ahead and move on to the next one. So here's how I won. I showed you this just this screenshot. I was on the 10th. I ended, I think, around 32 million-ish points when the timer actually went to 0, just because I did push a little bit to make sure that this guy right here was not above me. But I think he actually did quit around that time, but I just wanted to make sure that he didn't push 6 million power in the last like 5 minutes or so. And this is basically the troop details that I actually had. I had about, at the end of this Zenith of Power, I had 1.1 million infantry, all tier 5, because I actually converted all tier 4s to tier 5 during this Zenith of Power. And I'll go over a little bit of why that's the case. And about 2 million cavalry, 1.3 million archers, and then about 500k siege. And yeah, that's basically where I actually got this. This is a screenshot from when I actually just acquired it. So that's basically it. So that's how I ended up. And let's actually go ahead and move on to troop trainings calculator from this ROK-calculator.com. Now here's how I was able to get 31 million power for the Zenith of Power that I actually was able to win. And you can see that I did a good mixture of T4 to T5 as well as new T5 training. But here's how I was able to save a ton of resources in terms of ton of speed ups. Is by having a lot of T4s trained up before I actually started the Zenith of Power. So here's what I mean. I already knew that I was going to need City Skin for cavalry as I was maining cavalry. I've been rallying and garrisoning for the kingdom for quite a long time. And I knew that having this Zenith of Power Skin was going to be crucial for my progress and efficiency of my kingdom. So what I did was I actually had about 400k of T5 troops for each troop type except for siege ready for battle during KVKs so that I can actually bring out a full march max cap max boosted unit capacity troops out in the troop for my KVKs, at least one march out with full capacity. But then again, everything beyond that, I actually kept them as tier 4s because I knew that this Zenith of Power for 15% cavalry health was going to come sometime in the future. Now, with that said, I had about, about 2 million troops in T4 at reserve, and actually trooped about another 1.9 million T5 troops trained up. But that allowed me to actually save. I did the math before I actually started this video, and I was able to save about 1 year of speed up from this right here. So I think as far as what I remember, let's see. I actually spent about 5.14 years of speed up, but then again, actually at the end of the day, I actually ended up saving a little bit more than a year by having a lot of tier 4 troops saved up and converting them to tier 5 during the Zenith of Power event. So that helped me save a full year of speed ups during the Zenith of Power event. Now, if you're a mega whale, you may not have to care about having a full year of speed up. But then again, even if you are a mega whale, I think a year worth of speed up does matter a lot. So in terms of you getting that Mightiest Governor event, if you know that you are going to be one of those people who are going to go for the Zenith of Power event eventually, I would say train enough tier 5s for you to use for KVK, but then again, rest of them, keep them trained as tier 4s because it will help you save a ton of tier 5, a ton of speed ups at the end of the day. So for you to actually get 31 million power that I was able to get my Zenith of Skin with, you need about 5.14 years of speed ups. And if you actually were to do that, and this was in the scenario of me mixing tier 5 and upgrade to tier 4, a tier 4 upgrade to tier 5 and tier 5 new training, about half and half. But if you actually were to train the full 31 million power worth of troops, then I believe you need about 6.2 years of speed ups. And that is with the full maximum training speed bonus that is available for you in the game. Now how does this work is actually if you start off the game and then you finish all the researches that are available for you in the research center, you get about 60% to start with, and then from there you can get about additional 15% from runes because training speed bonus actually goes up to 15%, and I think Duke gives you about 10%, which is quite nice. And then If you're a rally lead or garrison lead like myself, you can probably ask your leadership to keep the Duke on as long as possible so you can actually get the maximum value of that Duke. And also, I was at Germany civilization at the time of this event happening, so I was able to get that extra 5%. So 60% plus 5% from Germany, and then 15% from runes, and then 10% from Duke helped me build up that 90% speed bonus that I was able to get for Zenith of Power for the maximum efficiency. Now, if you were to train for something like 50 million power, which is actually a very plausible explanation for, let's say, more competitive or older kingdoms, then you need about 10 years of speed up if you want to train the full 50 million power with brand new tier 5 troops. And 10 years is a lot. And you can see that you will need also about 4 billion of food, 4 billion of wood, and so about 10 billion resources, including 2 million gold, is basically what you're going to need for that T5 training. Now, with that said, if you actually were able to convert all of T4 into T5, now this is all just hypothetical because no one's going to have about 8.35 million tier 4 units available for you to use for your Zenith 50 million power push. Most people are going to actually use just majority T5 new training because those kingdoms are very old, and then most of those kingdom players who are going for Zenith of Power are not going to have T4s available for you. But then again, theoretically, the maximum reduction in maximum efficiency that you can actually get out of it is actually 2034 divided by 654. So you can actually get about 45% more efficient by training tier 4 troops to tier 5 troops. And it will save you, it will actually cost you a little bit more resource, but I think it's minimal enough. It's only like 1.2, 1.3 million, a billion resource that you actually are going to need. But then again, if you're training 50 million troops at for Zenith of Power for your kingdom, you're most likely going to be pretty set on resource. I'm not too worried about that. But it still is a significant amount of difference. It's probably about 4.5 years of difference if you're training about 50 million troops. So my recommendation for you is make sure you get as many T4 troops trained as much as possible during the wait time for you to get that desired Zenith of Power Skin. If you don't, it's totally fine, but you actually absolutely have to make sure that you get that maximum efficiency in training speed, in my opinion, if you really want to get this Zenith of Power Skin. Because let's say you're missing like Duke and you're missing 10%. Right off the bat, that already gave you another year of speed up that you're never going to get back. And let's say you forgot to grab a rune, and now that's like, well, another 1.5 years that you're never going to get back if you're powering up 50 million. So yeah, make sure you're at the you grab your rune, make sure you grab your Duke as much as possible. I know that one kingdom is going to have Duke kind of going around everyone, but like make sure you're holding on to Duke for majority of your training, and also make sure you're on Germany if possible, because that could save you up to half a year at the maximum if you're pushing up to 50 million power. So pushing up 50 million power. So yep. Now that is it for my video today. Hopefully this was helpful for those of you who are looking to actually get the next Zenith of Power, as well as the following Zenith of Power skins that are going to come into the game. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop it down in the comment down below. And as always, I'll see you on the next video.